Welcome back, folks. This is Acid. So we're going to get to part 9 of Let's Play Super Mario World. What happens in this basic episode is it's kind of like a regrouping episode. There's not too much to this episode just because I wanted to use the leftover footage rather than start some new stuff and make this episode longer. So this playthrough is basically just going to be kind of hodgepodge type stuff, pretty similar to Donkey Kong Country 3, I'd have to say. But some episodes are going to be shorter than others because it just kind of determines how long I'm going to wind up doing these gameplay episodes as far as that kind of goes. So you're going to be seeing... oftenly enough, you're going to be seeing some backtracking to like go back to like the checkpoint, the top secret area, and then like the ghost house to save the game. Because it's not full blown unfortunate because this game is a classic, but it's enough of like a natch just to be able to say that you do have to complete like a ghost house or something like that to save the game. So this is kind of the concept. That's what I'm going to do because basically, you know, when things get wrapped up, I just want to save, so you obviously don't have to repeat these stages and such. That's this kind of thing, but just being able to say we're going to get towards that, so. But yeah, there is a little bit of progress in this episode. I am going to beat at least one stage, which is the castle, so if I wasn't screwing up in this ghost house here, we'd get towards it sooner, but that's the basic concept about it, so. Maybe just trying to think of some extra stuff to kind of say amongst this episode, like, yeah, it's just some basic stuff, regular hot May Day, stuff like that, just, basic kind of concepts here, working on acidic roots videos, things like that, and, yeah, it's just, I suppose I don't have too terribly much to report, just been watching the news, stuff like that, some of those type moments. Bananas are still getting eaten, as much as I enjoy those, stuff like that. There's basic concepts there. I suppose in terms of personal life, it's not really, I suppose we should just stick with the game as far as that particular kind of goes, but just kind of look after is kind of the concept, but, yeah, I just, I mean, this is a classic game. I would have to suppose, in particular, just the concept about it. I don't recall if I actually got to Soda Lake. I'm going to have to probably go and do that in the next episode as far as that particular kind of goes. I want to say, I know that there's like a Star Road area that's past like Soda Lake or something like that. There's a series of stages. I'm probably going to want to have Yoshi along for the ride when I do that. And, I just would have to say that, I mean, we're going to get to 96 exits, because that is doable. I do believe I would be able to do that with a relative kind of situation, but this is kind of annoying. You really don't want to have the cape here, just kind of the concept. This kind of gives me problems, because this was not, I mean, obviously I didn't remember this stage, but just being able to say, like, it's just, you do probably want to have an extra hit or something just in case, obviously for the boss, but then to say on top of that, you just don't want to have the cape because you'll fly when you run real fast and you'll probably hit the spikes, so this is kind of the situation, but of course you can stack up a few extra lives if you hop on the turtles here, I'd have to say, but just look after it. It's a pretty cool feature to be able to do that. I do like that concept. I like the fact, because there's like ROM hacks to this particular game, which to talk about ROM hacks is to say something like that. I mean, ROM hacks are pretty dope. If you look hard enough, you can actually find ROM hacks on cartridge, so you can actually play it on an actual Super Nintendo, which is pretty awesome. But then you have to understand, if you do that, you can't necessarily save state. So the concept of if you get like a game like Kaizo Mario or something like that, obviously that's got to be a nightmare just to play on like a home Super Nintendo, because that game is just made for save states. But if you look hard enough, there are people brutal enough to where you can actually play a Kaizo Mario on like a Super Nintendo cartridge that you could buy from like a pawn shop or a store like that, some sort of antique store or something in that relative notation. But I just question the people who actually could beat Kaizo Mario on like a Super Nintendo cartridge, but I forgot the point I was trying to say elsewise too. It had something to do with like the previous stage, just being able to say there's going to be some backtracking towards getting towards some of that. I do believe I can. This boss actually gives me some problems here, and of course it's the last hit that it does, but yeah, so I would say, like, the concept, I think it's still within range of me being able to beat this game with 96 exits and stuff, I guess would have to say, is like the concept about it, but hopefully. I mean, I do believe, I recognize that there's some stages in like the special world. I don't think it's too much of spoilers to say there's a special world. I think this game is pretty universal by this stage, but in the special world there's some stages that are probably going to be a real pain in the ass to have to get through, but we'll have to work towards it. Just be able to say and stuff as far as that particular kind of goes, but this is kind of the thing. Yeah, it's just a 10 out of 10 game. I feel like if you own a Super Nintendo in some fashion, you should have this game. I just feel it just kind of feels like weaning yourself off of, like some sort of hard drug like heroin or something, not having a Super Nintendo, or having a Super Nintendo and not having Super Mario World. It's like, what are you doing? Unless you're really like a sports junkie and you only care about like Madden and NBA Jam or something like that, but even then, you should have Super Mario World. Is kind of the thing. It's kind of the concept is for classic fare as far as like a simple kind of Saturday night hangout where you get pizza and things like that, or just relative kickback. It's kind of the thing, but I look after it like, yeah, so we're going to get through this stage this particular time. Just would have to say this boss is just giving me a little bit of problems. I could have gotten an extra life, but it's just like, that's kind of the thing. But yeah, we'll get to Forest Illusion sometime in the next episode. Just would have to say, like, I'm probably going to do Soda Lake and some of those type ones. It might not be that much progress, but then it's probably going to be lengthier. The thing about when I do gameplay segments, I usually record them about 25 or 30 minutes at a time, and then I break them. Most of the time I try not to have episodes longer than 15 minutes. I might get back to like a 14-minute, but if it winds up being like 25 minutes that I record, then I'll probably just break them into 12 and 13 or 14 minutes, 12 and 13 and a half minutes a pop as far as that particular kind of goes. That's the thing about it. But it's really having to do things. So I estimate this game is pretty lengthy. We're about halfway done with the game. I checked the cartridge and we're about 42 exits in, so that's a little bit less than half. 48 would be half of the game, so I just would have to say, like, just paying attention to that, like, obviously getting through these. So I'd say that there probably will be like 25, 30 episodes in this. I'm not going to try to hurry along just because I want this to be like a classic playthrough like Donkey Kong Country 3, just the way, just the relaxing and just kind of making this like a midnight kind of hangout just for after hours and things like that. I'd have to say it's some good concepts, but we'll get towards it definitely. And yeah, so subscribe for more fun. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful night.